and welcome to lesson number 8, Memorization of Information. In our last lesson, we learned that you can have information overload if you present too much information or too many concepts at the same time. If that happens, you're not likely to remember them. Also, if you present information but only give that information in a limited number of times and in a limited number of contexts, it's not likely that that information will carry over even to test time a week or two later. Like our example of Preston Road, once a cattle trail, now becoming a major thoroughfare, that happened because the wagon wheels were deep ruts from years and years of travel. We need to think about developing memory in the same way, developing wagon trails with deep ruts in your brain so that the information is meaningful, it stays in your brain, and you can extend that by transferring concepts to new or already learned information. A perfect example of that is over the past few weeks, my son and I have been watching some broadcasts on HBO Max, which talk about when disaster strikes. And one of them was about a supervolcano that exploded and released a giant pyroclastic flow onto the neighboring cities. The devastation caused by these pyroclastic flows is so rapid that people can't escape from the burning gases and the hot ash that completely overwhelm the neighboring cities and towns, killing all of the residents. A few weeks after watching this episode, my son, who's in a geology class, had the students compare and contrast the danger of living near an earthquake zone and the hot zone of a volcano. Having watched episodes about earthquakes and volcanoes in the world, he was able to quickly form a strong opinion that living by a volcano was far more dangerous because of the inability to escape the hot gases and ash from the exploding volcano. I cannot emphasize how strongly that connections are important in memorization of information. Many years ago, I was involved in learning a language arts program which taught students how to memorize information to spell it correctly. I want to share that with you now. As you look at the screen, you're going to see a sample page with a word. Let's zoom in. This is a sample lesson that I do with my students, teaching them how to study. For example, I tell them to follow these steps. First, look at the word. Second, say the word out loud. Third, spell the word out loud. Fourth, cover the word with your hand. Fifth, write the word down. Sixth, uncover the word and check that it's spelled correctly. If it's not correct, then try again. Okay? Same thing with a big idea versus simply one word. Look at the idea. Say the idea out loud. Cover the idea. Write it down. Look at what you wrote. Is the idea correct? Let's try again. Okay, so let's try this with the word certain. So for example, I have the word certain on the board or on a piece of paper and I say, just look at it. Then I say the word certain. Certain. Now spell it out loud. C-E-R-T-A-I-N. Then I cover the word and I say, okay, now I want you to write it. Then they uncover it and check that they spelled it correctly. Same thing with an idea. If I say, the idea is there are 8 planets in the solar system, then they have to say, there are 8 planets in the solar system, then they cover it. And they might write just 8 planets solar system, or solar system, 8 planets. Either of those ideas conveys the essential information. Okay, can we zoom out, please? This form of memorization allows for a multi-sensory approach. You're using your eyes, you're using your mouth, you're using your ears, and you're using your hands, all to reinforce the spelling word or the idea. In your classroom, you can also use some popsicle sticks with phrases like, "Tell me one important thing you learned today in class." "Ask your neighbor what he or she learned today." "Write in your journal 3 things that you learned today." Or identify the most important word you think that we learned today. If any of these seems similar to our metacognitive approach to learning, it is. I've also seen some very successful use of flashcard quiz games online, such as Jeopardy game, installed on Google Drive, and Quiz. Gallery walks through the room or in the hallways can be useful as long as there is teacher interaction during the walks and a debriefing after the gallery walk. In our next session, we're going to be talking about how we teach students to develop and use content vocabulary. Please use the QR code available to evaluate my lesson. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you soon.